Hey Gators and sports fans, get all your Gator talk, news, analysis, and opinions on the Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning podcast. Find us on your favorite podcast platform or watch us on Facebook Live between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. every weekday. Pod Up, because we are Gator fans. So say it's great to be a Florida Gator.
Good morning. Welcome to a Friday edition of Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to care. It's Friday. We have JC going to join us here momentarily on the Titan More Hotline, second portion of today's program. We'll have the publisher, Gator Collective, Bob Redman, Hollywood Bob, join us, give us his thoughts on what he's heard and seen at practice the last couple of days, talk a little recruiting, and just talk about the Gators in general. We'll take your questions and your comments. Tell your friends and family to tune in. We're live on Facebook Live, YouTube, Spotify, all that good stuff. If you missed it, also, Mike Holloway, Gator track coach, has signed an extension, got a raise, should be, I don't know if he's the highest paid track coach in America, but he should be. Just a good dude and well-deserved on his behalf. You missed it last night in the Hall of Fame game. I watched, I think, maybe two series. The Raiders manhandled the Jaguars, which means absolutely nothing, quite honestly. But the Raiders have a chance to have a pretty good squad. I've always thought Josh McDaniels was a tremendous play caller. He's been really good everywhere he's been except Denver. And I have my thoughts there. I think Tim was his quarterback some there. But you can't throw the ball, and that's what you got to do in that league. So he had trouble with that. So get your thoughts on the Jaguars last night, the Raiders, the Hall of Fame induction ceremony is tomorrow, I believe. Tony Baselli, Leroy Butler, former Florida State Seminole, Green Bay Packer, good dude who grew up in Jacksonville's going in. I saw on Twitter this picture of his helmet he wore. I think he went to Jacksonville Lee. And good gracious, that helmet. It's unbelievable. But we're old. So you're getting old when a lot of the guys that are going into the Hall of Fame came out the same year you did, were in the league when I was. So we're waiting on JC. I think is JC, is he here? Okay, JC is connecting. We'll get his comments on his Jaguars last night. Tony says the Raiders are in the wrong division. They win a few divisions, just not in the one they are in. You're right. Good morning, JC. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I got you, man. How we doing? How we looking? Everything good?
Yeah, we're just talking. I was talking about. I saw a picture on Twitter. Leroy Butler, who's from Jacksonville, is going to the Hall of Fame tomorrow as well. Right. They had a picture. I don't know if it was in the Hall of Fame or back at Lee High School, but a picture of the helmet he wore. Oh my gosh! It goes to show you how old we really are.
Well, yeah, and it goes to show you why you hear so many, head injuries and people suffering from and we can see why those helmets were. Those things you can buy them at Kmart.
His helmet that he wore, which I don't know if Leroy and I are about the same age. So he would have worn that in the 86 to 88 range. But we had these little air packs in our helmets. My dad's Ole Miss helmet has this leather strapping on the inside. But the helmet at Leroy, they didn't show the inside of it. By looking at the outside of it, it looked like it had the leather straps. So those things, it's crazy to think that you played football in those. And Rick says you ain't old till you wore leather helmets. You're right, Rick. Yeah,
and then they played on sidewalks. I mean, green sidewalks in many cases. It's, oh boy, a lot of guys suffer from head traumas and injuries later in life, and from the injuries they had, and they really catch it later in life. It's really sad. I hate seeing that. QB, I tell you, I don't know. I'm sorry I was a few minutes late here, but.
That's a big fine in the National Football League, JC.
Yeah, I'm in the meeting room late. I'm seeing the Gators getting a lot of love here nationally here lately. Rod Gilmore of ESPN and a couple other guys really liking what they see. What
the hell have they seen?
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Is I said, what are we excited about? Well, one of the things he was talking about, of course, was Anthony. And Anthony Richardson is the focal point of this team, and certainly it's his team, right? Yeah, and we all know that this is going to be his team. And I've got a couple things I want to throw by you about Anthony and see if you'd like to play a little game and try to guess what I'm going to throw.
All right, let's play a game.
Okay, here's the game. Over/under game, QB. Anthony Richardson over/under 3,500 passing yards for the season.
Under.
You didn't even even hesitate.
JC, that's a lot of yards.
Well, Tim Tebow started his 3-year run with 4,181 yards in 2007, and I never would have known that either. And then he had 3,419 yards and 3,805 yards, but he also had Percy Harvin. And
he had a bunch of NFL dudes throwing shallow crosses too.
Yeah, shallow crosses. That's not a bad pass to throw. How about this one? Anthony Richardson interceptions over/under 8. 8.
Oh, that's way too. I mean, you got to say over. I'd say that for Bryce Young. I'd say over.
Yeah, that's kind of a strange.
Is this like in Vegas, or is this something you made up?
No, this is something I'm reading on the Athletic.
That's low. That is low for any quarterback these days.
I'm giving you that a big praise, no question. But let's see here. Okay, so we had last year QB Will Rogers had 9 interceptions. That's all he had, and he threw the ball every play. And Zach Calzada of A&M only had 9 interceptions.
He didn't play the whole year though.
That's okay. Very good point. Connor Bazelak had 11, and Will Levis had 13. And these guys threw the ball a lot more than what we're going to see Anthony Richardson throw it. So
right. I hope he doesn't throw any, but the odds are against you throwing less than 8 interceptions. I mean, you got to think about it, JC. You could have a curl route that's wide open. He throws it. The defensive end sticks his hand up, bam, tip ball, it's intercepted. I mean,
or it bounces off the receiver.
Yeah, I mean, eight is so low.
So I tell you, I wish they would change the category for quarterbacks on interceptions that receivers should catch. It's kind of like when baseball players are ruled, or when there's a hit or error ruled by an official scorekeeper up in the box, and we think, God, that was an error. That third baseman should have caught that.
Tony's playing your game. He says under on the total amount of passing yards, which I said, and he says over on the interceptions, which I said.
Okay, give me. Let's see, leading receiver. Who would you pick to be the leading receiver on the team?
Ricky Pearsall, hands down.
That's who everybody's picking him. How about
he has been. I mean, I've only been to one practice. I've only practiced twice.
Yeah,
we're 29 days away. I want to know who your favorite Gator that wore number 29. I only know one. Yeah, he was a damn good player.
Yeah.
Do you know who that is?
No.
Okay, I'll tell you in a minute. But Ricky Pearsall, I told everybody yesterday. He's a little bit taller than Travis McGriff, but they're built very similar. And he runs really good. He is quick. He's the most explosive and quickest wide receiver we have.
You'll see jet sweeps and screens and maybe.
No. I mean, no.
You don't think he'll have a jet sweep?
I don't think so. He's not a jet sweep guy.
All right. What about leading rusher? That one was easy for me.
Oh, it's either going to be Naquan Wright or Montrez Johnson.
Correct. I agree. I'll go with you. All right, here's a good one. Points per game, over under QB, 31.
Oh, I mean, in college football, it's such high scoring these days. I just think we're going to be a run-oriented football team. I would go under, right around the 28, 29, hopefully. I mean, Lord, I hope we score 50 a game. Real quick, everybody's chiming in on Facebook Live, brought to you by Melon Law, about their favorite and best number 29, hands down, Mike Peterson. Not even close.
Oh, okay. All right. Let me give you some historical perspective. What do you think the Gators averaged under Urban points per game? Just off the top of your head.
Well, in the 40s.
It was 35 points per game. And what do you think they've averaged under Dan Mullen?
Right around there, probably 38.
34.6, and only 34.1 with Steve Spurrier's fun and gun, which shocked me. I thought it'd be much, much higher. So anyway,
you got all kinds of stats today.
Well, I'm pretty good at preparation. And finally, QB, scared money don't make money. That's the famous quote from our coach. How many references on TV this season, do you think you're going to hear scared money don't make money, and the total is 40?
Way over.
You got every one of them, according to what our author of this fine article wrote. And the author of this article, I must give him credit, was, of course, G. Allen Taylor. So,
he's a local guy.
Yeah, you've had him on here. So I found that interesting. I read it. He thinks Ventrell Miller will be the leading tackler. I kind of agree with that. Here's a big one, though. Defensive takeaways. He's got a number at 18.5. This is something where Florida was really bad at last year. They only forced 13 takeaways last season. The 10-year average is 22.2, which was the second most in the SEC, but they only forced 13. The number is 18.5. Would you go over or under that?
I'm going to go over because this is one of the ingredients to his philosophy. And let's hope they throw a bunch of interceptions. Well, I think we got a really good secondary. Again, we got to pressure the quarterback somehow.
It almost sounds like you read this article to me.
I have not read that article. I know Billy's coaching style and his philosophy.
Yeah. Here's the last question: points per game allowed. Points per allowed. Hold on. Points per allowed. Over under is 25.
Oh, I got to go over.
Yeah. The defense last year was 26.8 game. That was 11th. 11th in the SEC. They allowed 26.8.
Here's a stat for you, JC. I know you didn't watch the show yesterday, but Brent Beard and I brought this up. In the SEC, who do you think had the most explosive big plays of any offense in the league?
Last year? Well, I mean, I would guess it's Alabama, but
nope.
Okay. Well,
it would be your national champs.
Oh, Georgia. Dogs. Well, yeah, but that surprises me a little bit because Pickens didn't play. They didn't have any long pass plays.
Well, they did because that's explosive plays.
Well, see, I thought I saw Jameson Williams running down the sideline catching balls.
Well, you don't just because you're an Alabama guy, don't get upset. The numbers don't lie. The numbers ain't lying.
Listen. I'm not upset. I just yeah. We
got some good. Rick says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mental Law. Don't forget, second portion today we'll have Bob Redman, publisher of Gator Collective. Old Hollywood Bob will give us a rundown of what's going on in Gator Nation. Rick says the big stat is, what is JC's weight?
Thank you, Rick. You're a true beauty. I got to go check that. I played tennis last night. We won our match, 7-5, 6-4, and I'm on a 4-match winning streak right now. So in both doubles and men's and mixed combo, mixed and men's. So I don't know. Tennis takes it off me like that, though.
Well, so you're not going to answer the question.
I don't know what it is. I haven't.
Go to public stand. Let us know on Monday.
I'll let you know on Monday. Real quick reference to my beautiful East Carolina Pirates hat. I was on a podcast with Dave Richmond, Matt Semenza, former Pirate player, and Bubba Rosenbaum, great guy, up in Greenville. And they're all excited about their Pirates. Did you know the Gators played the Pirates in 2015, QB?
I do.
And the Gators won that game 31-24. They had Will Greer and Kelvin Taylor. Remember those days? They started that year at 7-1 in the conference. They were 10-4 overall, but they started the year 7-1. Well, their record was 7-1 in the SEC, and it started out great. And then Will Greer, as you all remember, was suspended. They played Mississippi the week after Mississippi beat Alabama in the Swamp, scored 38 points on them, and routed them. It was the first time the Swamp had gotten excited in years, and then it all fell apart because Will Greer got suspended. That was the year.
I want to say Lincoln Riley was calling ball plays for the
Pirates.
East Carolina Pirates.
Yeah, they told me that They told me that on the podcast. That was a good team East Carolina had. Good quarterback, good team. I like the Pirates. Their budget QB. Think about this: the SEC is going to start at some point, and the Big Ten teams will start here in some point of around $80 to $100 million a year in television revenue. East Carolina's gets $7 million. They get $7 million.
And and people like you don't want them coming to the Swamp and getting that check that allows them to carry on their program.
That's completely wrong. I said I don't want FCS teams coming to the Swamp, but I don't mind East Carolina. I don't mind Coastal Carolina. I don't mind any of those teams coming to the Swamp. Those are fine. I don't want to see, FCS teams coming to the Swamp. That's not what I want to see.
So we got a couple of Facebook Lives here talking about all your little over-unders or whatever. they all want to know what is the over/under, or how many quote rights does Saban and Billy say in their press conference? So Billy, if you listen to Billy, his press conferences are a lot like Saban. He'll say, we got to go out and practice. We got to play hard today, right? Right. He has right at the end, but that would be a good drinking. That would be a good drinking game for the people.
Oh, you might not be able to walk out of the room. Might not be able to walk out of the room. All right. We have.
Are you in the market? Are you in the market to buy or sell a home? Call Darring Weeby, a realtor with Caldwell Banker M. Parrish. Will provide you with fast, friendly, reliable service. Call her today at 352-562-1411 to help your dreams come true. Speaking with JC on the Titan MR hotline, we will be joined by Hollywood Bob Redman from Gator Collective. Get his thoughts. JC, we don't get to do our Peachland Dentistry, Gator Nation's #1 choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte surrounding areas. But we've been doing our golf picks. We haven't been able to do those because we take Wednesdays off. We'll be back, I think, on the 17th on Wednesdays. But my question for you, changing, because we're gonna cover a bunch today. Talking golf, they're getting close to the FedEx playoffs. This week's not part of that, right? It starts next week, I think.
I think you're right, man.
But these dudes from the Club 54 have now filed a lawsuit.
A lawsuit,
which is crazy in my opinion.
So they've been harmed. Have they been hurt by somebody? Who has hurt the Club 54 that would justify a lawsuit? I got to hear this. Go ahead.
I don't know because I didn't read about it.
Exactly. Listen, I care about this much. I don't watch it. I don't follow it. In fact, if Tony Finau hadn't won the last 2 tournaments back to back, I wouldn't have known who won. Honestly, golf for me ends when the last major ends. All of a sudden, it's gone to July now when the British Open ends. The Tour Championship is interesting. They've got the FedEx St. Jude Championship coming up. They got the BMW Championship. Then the Tour Championship starts August 28th to 29th, or 25th through 28th. And I'm going to look at that and watch it to see who gets the big pot of money there at the end. But the only thing that's interesting to me right now with golf, because golf to me kind of takes a slope this way as we get closer to football, QB, is just that Tony Finau has won the last 2 tournaments, and he is 49 under par in the last, I want to say 50 rounds, or in the last 9 rounds. He's 49 under par in the last 9 rounds. That is staggering. That is staggering golf. And I don't think it has anything to do with how easy or hard the courses are. They're still set up by the PGA. The fact that this guy can make all these birdies and win these 2 tournaments when he really has always been a bridesmaid is great. It's great for him, and I think it's great for his team and obviously his family and fans who like him. So he's very popular on tour. We've talked about this, and I'm happy about that. And that's about the extent of my give a crap on golf. So
speaking of golf, before we move on, one of my favorite new players is Ju Hung Kim from South Korea. He's 19 years old, JC, and he's been in. He's had like 5 or 6 top 20s already as a 19-year-old. He started yesterday with a quadruple bogey.
Oh no!
4 over par on number 1.
Yeah,
and then had 8 birdies after that.
Yeah, he's 2 under.
So they call him J.H. Kim. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but he is 19 years old. Yeah, it's pretty impressive what those South Koreans are doing on that tour. They're taking over.
Well, Sung Jae Im is second right now at the Wyndham Championship up there in Greensboro. This used to be called the Greater Greensboro Open. I loved it so much more.
That's what it was called. I played this golf. I played in the Pro-Am when I was with the Panthers.
Yeah.
I thought that course, I watched a little bit of it yesterday. I'm like, this course looks familiar.
Yeah. Remember the Greater Hartford Open, the Greater Greensboro Open. That's what the Wyndham Championship. I don't know what that means. But, that's up at Sedgefield Country Club, QB, in Greensboro, North Carolina.
I don't know if that's the one I played or not. But all right, let's switch gears real quick. I got a trivia question for you. I want to talk a little NFL, but we're going right to college football.
Right.
Can you name the 5 – I heard this yesterday on some show. I don't know what show it was. Can you name the 5 college football teams that are favored in every game they play this year?
Well, one's easy. That's out. Alabama's 1. I know that. I would say Ohio State has to be 2.
Yeah.
Or one of them. I think Georgia would be there.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with QB. I'm going to go with Clemson Tigers.
Nope.
Okay. So how about this one? Let's go with this is
you need a hint on the other two?
Yeah, give me a hint.
One is in the Pac-12.
Oh, okay. Okay, that'd be the Southern California Trojans.
Nope.
Really? Really?
I said no.
What's the other one in?
The Utah Utes will be favored in every game this year.
Yeah.
You know what? The fifth one, you could sit here. The fifth one is one of our military schools.
Oh, that's got to be Air Force.
Yep. Those are the 5 teams that they say will be favored in every game they play this year.
Well, I tell you, folks, I've been listening. Kyle Whittingham, I don't think the travel's going to be that. It's not going to affect Utah. It's the first game of the year. That's not a big deal, I don't think. I think that a 7:00 game is better than a 2:30 game, although I don't think that's going to really affect Utah. The only thing that's going to affect Utah is whether or not Florida's defense can get to their backfield. And this is a good team, man. It's going to be a great measuring stick for the University of Florida to see where they stand, because this is a good team coming in. It's probably the toughest season opener Florida's had in years, for sure. And it's probably one of the biggest or most must-see games on the television schedule in week 1, just because it's Florida at home against the Pac-12 champions. You don't get that kind of matchup in week 1 hardly ever, really. And now you're going to see it. And I credit Utah, man. This is a school that, they're just really getting to that point where people are paying really hard attention to them because they won the conference last year, but because they've got good players. Salt Lake City is a really good place to recruit to, I think. I think Whittingham does a great job. Obviously, their student body, their fan section, there's nothing bad you can say about the University of Utah's football program right now.
Yeah, but I was surprised there. Matt says, Shane, I know you love that Coach put an end to all the players wearing different socks. Yeah, it's all about discipline, being part of a team, and I really love that. Dan says Michigan was a tough opener a couple of years ago. We got a text here on the Titan Mark text line. I'm not sure who it's from. It says, can't wait for the Gators to tee it up. The Jags looked in mid-season form last night, as always.
Well, listen,
you and your show are always in mid-season form. Appreciate that, whoever said that.
Thank you so much. Thank you. What'd you think of that, Jackson? I mean, I didn't
when I turned it on, it was already like 13-0, and I felt like the kid I watched, I think, 2 series, the kid from Georgia, what is it, Zahir White or whatever his name is?
Yeah.
Was just, he's going to be a star for the Raiders.
I kind of agree with that. Yeah, I like that. Listen, don't take much out of this. These guys are just finding their feet. Jarrett Stidham, former Auburn quarterback for the Raiders, had almost 100 yards passing.
How did my man Nick Mullins from Southern Miss do for the Raiders?
Yeah, I'd have to pull it up there, QB.
Okay.
I don't know. But listen, I don't – the preseason – what they do, they go to 3 games now, something like that?
No. I think they still play 4.
You do? I don't think.
Yeah, and I think this was the 5th game for those 2 teams.
Okay.
Hell, I can't remember.
They have 3. They have 3, QB. 3 preseason games.
Okay, so this was the Jags and the Raiders' 4th.
That's right.
They have to play 4.
They don't. Those 2 do, but everybody else plays.
You know what's crazy? I played a long time in the league because the average career is 2.5 years.
Yeah.
In my 14 years, not one team I was on ever got invited to the Hall of Fame game, which I'm glad.
That is crazy. Well, yeah, can't know how. I don't think you're really missing much there, even though unless you're a historian, you love the Hall of Fame. But listen, Jaguars will be back next Friday on the 12th. They'll play the Cleveland Browns at home. I guess you'll see a little bit of Trevor Lawrence in that, but not much.
Are you concerned about your team at all? Do you hear the reports coming out of the Rams camp with Stafford's elbow?
Stafford's got a little bit of a tenderness and soreness. Yeah, I mean, that would absolutely concern anybody who's very dependent on, their starting quarterback. Well, they're all dependent on their starting quarterback, but I don't know what the depth situation looks like there. I think Stafford has to stay healthy for the Rams. If he does, the Rams are going to be great. They're going to be fine. Their defense is going to keep them in many games, regardless of how the offense plays. But it's a tough division, even though Seattle's really on the downslide. Arizona and San Francisco are no jokes. They're both playoff teams from a year ago. So it's a very good division. And I tell you, both Western divisions, QB, in both conferences, to me, you could say or make the case that they're the best in their respective conferences. I think the AFC West is going to be the most competitive of all of the 8 divisions in the NFL. When the Chargers are going to be really good, the Chiefs are the Chiefs. I think the Raiders will be vastly improved, and I know the Broncos are going to be vastly improved with Russell Wilson and those receivers they have out there. So that's a division to me to really keep an eye on. Miami is getting a lot of attention in the NFC East. To me, though, if Tua doesn't have a Tua kind of year that he had at Alabama, I don't know about the Dolphins, but they've got a roster that is set up to help him succeed. That is a fact. Gesicki, Hill, they've got plenty of players. Waddle. They've got a lot of guys that can get in the end zone finally. So it's going to be on his shoulders. I don't think there's a quarterback in the NFL QB that has more pressure on him this year to do well and succeed in terms of his individual career or in terms of the fate of the team than Tua. I think he's got the most pressure of anybody.
I agree with that 100% because there's a lot of doubts about him, and they've added the pieces to the puzzle and
good offensive line, huge offensive line. I mean, so I don't know how but then if you look at their schedule, the Dolphins, it's not going to be a cakewalk. I think the Jets will be better. New England's New England, and you're going to have Buffalo probably be one of the 2 favorites. Well, they will be one of the 2 favorites in the AFC to go to win the conference. So that to me is going to be extremely interesting to watch if you have any interest. And the Dolphins are an organization that's really been frustrating off the field. They just got hit with tampering penalties, QB. Stephen Ross is not going to be allowed to show up until the middle of October. He is the owner.
Who gives a damn? I don't care if he shows up here. He ain't got nothing to do with the football team.
I know, but he stamps everything they do. And listen, they've made some roster movements and lots of them. And I agree with you. He's not important. What's important is, though, they lost a couple draft picks, including a first rounder next year. And it just shows that the organization is loose. It's, they got the lawsuit going on with the former coach. They need to win football games and get the attention away from off the field. That's what they need. And we'll see if the Dolphins can do it. There's a lot of Dolphin fans that I know, and it's time for them to win. It's been a long time since they've been good.
Andy's got a Facebook Live brought to you by Metal Law. What do you think of Tua not wanting anyone to know he was married? That was an odd situation yesterday. I'm not familiar with that. Are you?
No, I'm not. That you talk about don't care. But I'm happy. Good. Congratulations to the happy couple.
No. He's saying, I guess maybe in an interview or somebody, they tried to keep his marriage. I don't know. Anyway, we have a text here on the Tagamore text line from Jim. He says, I would love to hear JC's comments on the Deshaun Watson suspension.
Well, I said it before. I'm surprised. You give Calvin Ridley a year because he placed a few bets for $100 on a game, but you've got a guy with 23 civil lawsuits getting 6 games. I think it should have been no less than 10. But at this point, really, that story has dragged on and on and on. And I think we're all just happy it's over mostly, and that he can get back to playing football if that's what we really care about, about him doing. And if you're a Browns fan, you want him on that field. 6 games is 6 games. I don't know. But Calvin Ridley gets a year because he put $100 on Tampa Bay. All right. And they weren't even playing Tampa Bay or whatever it was. And I think that's ridiculous to me. That's ridiculous. That is in this day and age where they are literally putting DraftKings as the sponsor or so-and-so a FanDuel as the sponsor of anything. You see it everywhere you go now. It's not taboo. Now, players should not be allowed to bet. Okay, great. But a whole season? You've literally taken away 24 months of this guy's life on the field. And I just think that's ridiculous. I think it's ridiculous. You've got a guy with all these sexual assault accusations. Many of that had to be settled. Okay, you make out what you will with that, and he gets 6 games. 6 games. And it's because of him and his salary and who he is. I think if he was a lesser known player, it would have been a lot worse. A lot worse.
Yeah, it's I was surprised. I thought it was going to be the entire year, quite honestly. I think it should have been.
Right.
But
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, JC, before we let you go, we have a text here, and I was going to ask you this because I heard this somewhere else, and this is from Bob. Bob says, ask JC, would he take Alabama and Georgia playing for the national title or the field?
No, I would take the field. And
you would?
I say that because football's too hard, dude. Listen, I mean, injuries, so many things that can happen, suspensions, whatever you want to call it. Football is funny that way, and there's more games. Listen, I think they will be obviously the overwhelming favorites to play, but Ohio State is going to walk through the Big Ten, in my opinion, if they stay healthy. And they are a real deal team. I don't know defensively if they're as good as either Alabama or Georgia, probably not, but man, they'll be able to score a lot of points against anybody. And I think Clemson's going to be dramatically improved if they can get the quarterback situation under control. And I think Oklahoma in the Big 12 is going to roll. I think they're going to beat everybody. Baylor is your defending champion, but Oklahoma is going to win that conference. I think you're going to see a lot of.
Why do you think Baylor won't win it?
I don't think Baylor will win it because they lost some players from last year's team. They quarterbacked those there, so maybe they will. I'll root for Baylor. I just think.
I think what's interesting about Oklahoma, I think Oklahoma's going to be very good. But Dylan Gabriel, who's a transfer from UCF, is scheduled to be their starter. How will he? Going from the American Conference,
sure, but
can he make that transition?
But he's got the OC that he had at UCF, and I think that means a lot. And then, of course, you've got Southern Cal, who's going to make a lot of noise out there. And I don't know, there's just a lot of things. It would be too hard for me to say just 2 out of 100, or well, not 100, but 2 out of say 15 teams or 20 teams. Will do it, but it wouldn't surprise anybody. It wouldn't surprise me. Yeah. Now, listen, Alabama's got a tricky schedule. Georgia's got a couple of teams on there that could trip them up or at least give them a really tough game. It's going to be a great season. The SEC is set up to really be they're going to eat their own in this conference. I think there's going to be a lot of parity. Yeah. All
right, we got to get to a timeout. We're going to be joined by Bob Redman. Have a good weekend, JC. We'll see you on Monday.
See you Monday, guys.
That's JC. Join us on the Titan More Hotline. Quick timeout. Come back. Be joined by Bob Redman, Hollywood Bob, on the Titan MR Hotline. You're watching and listening to Pod Up Matthews in the Morning.
Hi there, this is Steve Spurrier, sometimes called the head ball coach, and I'm here with my wife Jerry and our good friend Sherry Houston, who's the executive director of the Ronald McDonald House Charities of North Central Florida. And we're thrilled to announce that the 1-year anniversary of our restaurant, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, is coming up August 11th. We'll be celebrating with a special dinner and celebration that will include the Chef's Choice Spread of the Year of all of your Spurrier favorites, including the filet mignon, carving station,
and our famous chocolate chip cookies,
with proceeds being donated to the local Ronald McDonald House Charities.
We're thrilled to partner with Coach, Jerry, and the Spurrier Gridiron Grill team to raise funds for the Ronald McDonald House, benefiting children and families experiencing medical emergencies.
Spurrier's Gridiron Grill will be donating 11% of all of our food money and 66% of our drink money to the Ronald McDonald House.
Go to spurriers.com right now and reserve your ticket before they sell out.
We'll have wonderful food, special guests, and limited edition 1-year anniversary gold collector's coin, as well as prizes like a dinner with Jerry and me. We couldn't have become one of the busiest and most successful restaurants in the South without you, our customers. So we want to celebrate with the most important members of our team, and that is you.
I want to celebrate with some of those cookies. Do you have any of those?
I do, right here.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Our gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co., Ruse Ogra State Farm Insurance, Doreen Wiebe Realtor Caldwell Banker MM Parish, Our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Rib Company, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, MB Listing, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Avra and Smith, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Celebration points where the Gators go to celebrate with premium brands like Escape Apology, Sushi Hana, Regal Cinemas, Kilwins, Le Macaron, Prime and Pro in the HBC's restaurants, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, where every Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 2:30 you can get the hottest brunch in town. We'll see you at Celebration Point, where the Gators go to celebrate. Don't forget, next Thursday, August 11th, the 1-year anniversary of Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Go get your tickets. Big festivities, big party going on at SpurriersGrill.com. We're going to now go to the Titan Number Hotline, and we're going to be joined by Hollywood Bob Redman, who is the publisher of Gator Collective. Good morning, Bob. How are you, my man?
I'm doing great. I appreciate you having me, Shane.
Yeah, before we get started, I've been meaning to ask you this. I've known you a long time. Where did Hollywood Bob come from?
All right, so Hollywood Bob, it actually, I don't know the actual context of why it happened, honestly, but somebody on the Ron Zook staff when I worked there, I worked 10 years with the program under Coach Spurrier and Coach Zook, and when I was there with Coach Zook, I think I do know what it was. I used to have a funny hat and these big sunglasses that I would wear, and one day somebody looked at me and said that I looked like Hollywood Bob. So it just stuck from that point.
I got you. Okay. All right. So let everybody know now what you're doing. You're with the Gator Collective and all that good stuff.
Yeah. So the Gator Collective has been around about a year now, and it's such a new thing. Everything's, and there's so much talk about the NIL and whatever issues it's causing with college football and or not causing. And here at Florida, one of the groups, if you want to call it, that is doing the NIL for the players and all, in all the sports is the Gator Collective. And we have come up with an idea to start a message board, and basically I write stories for the message board, and it's basically another avenue to attract people to join the Gator Collective. That's bottom line. That's what it is. Trying to get them to come on board, give them a reason, another reason to reach out and help, fund the student athletes at Florida. And, we find ways to basically pay the players, honestly. If I'm interviewing them, and I take their time out of the day, we can actually, they can monetize that and they can get paid for it. So we're going to do that. We just launched, and now we're into camp. So there's not going to be a whole lot of that interviewing going on as far as that is concerned. Let these guys do their thing and play their football. But there's other sports, and we will interview other players from other sports, and they will do the same thing. So I'm basically doing the things I've done for 19 years, and I'm just doing it for the Gator Collective now.
Yeah, and what I try to tell people this, because they get so many fans, whether you read about it or you talk about, or they come up to you at Publix or whatever. They don't understand that, in my opinion, the Gator Collective is doing what NIL is supposed to be about.
Right.
The kids on campus doing things and making money off who they are and what they've done.
Right.
They ain't sitting here going, let's write a check to that recruit in Dallas, Texas to be a Gator, which is buying players. And that is my biggest gripe, the whole NIL deal. That's why I don't like it. I don't have a problem with kids making money off their, interviews, jersey sales, whatever it is. But it's gotten out of control. All right, let's switch gears to the Florida football team. 29 days away till we kick it off. What would you say the strengths of this football team, in your opinion, Bob, are?
I think the absolute strength of this team is probably going to be, if you had to pick a unit. The one thing I actually think the defensive line is going to be really good, except for we just don't know that one defensive tackle spot, and of course the depth there. But I think the edge guys on the defensive line are going to be really, really good this year. I think they have some depth. I think they have some guys that can really move. And then when you add Gervon Dexter to that, in the middle, you really have 3 out of 4 spots up front that are really good. So I think the running game's going to be really good. I think the running back position is another strength of this team. I think the offensive line, I think they're actually going to have 8 or 9 guys ready this year and to go. Now, Richard Garage is a little banged up, so he's missed the first 2 days of practice and supposedly going to miss a couple of more, but I think he's going to be back shortly after that. He's a left tackle, and they got to got to deal with that. I think the secondary is going to be really improved. I think that's an area where there's a whole lot of talent, and they just didn't play well last year. But I think they got some new guys out there in Devin Moore and Kamari Wilson that are really going to push the older guys. And I think there's some depth in the secondary and a lot of talent. So I do think there's some areas on this team that are really good. But I think there's a hole, like the one hole on the defensive line. Is Ricky Pearsall the answer at the slot receiver that they need? Because I think their receivers are talented. I just don't know if they are. I don't know if there's that one guy that's really, really, the exceptional player at receiver.
So I'm going to answer my own question, because this is a great thing about sports talk shows. We have our own opinions, right?
Right.
My biggest concern, and it's been my concern the last 2 or 3 years, is the front 7 on defense. I know we got Brent Cox, we got Dexter, these guys coming back.
Yeah.
I don't think they played very well last year. I don't think they gave great effort. Now, are they talented? Yes. And now Patrick Toney may get them to play the way they're supposed to play. Because I will tell you this, if they don't give effort, they ain't going to play on this team. I can promise you that. They're going to be sitting on the sideline. I think the secondary is going to be really good. I love the secondary. And I think I like the running backs. We got a slew of good running backs. I think the best group on the entire team, and I could be totally wrong, I think it's going to be the offensive line. I really do. I think with Torrance being added, highly rated kid going to the NFL supposedly, but we're going to be a run the football team. And I'm crossing my fingers about the offensive line. So that's just my thought. You kind of gave my biggest concern is the front 7 on defense, because I watched it from the press box, the booth, the radio booth too much last year of our guys just getting blown off the ball. I hope that changes. You talked about Ricky Pearsall. The one practice I've been to, Bob, clearly our best wide receiver. It's not even close.
I've heard that.
What are you hearing about that?
Yeah, I've heard that too. And I've heard and it depends on what you're looking for. And I think Billy Gonzalez and the last staff, they put so much emphasis on really big guys, size. They just put emphasis on size. I mean, all receivers out there, and I honestly don't, I've actually been away because of COVID right now, so I haven't been out at practice, but I don't know exactly how tall Pearsall is, but I mean, all the other guys are 6'3", 6'4", but they're just when you're that big, it's hard to find guys that are that big and can really move and do those things. And that's what I hear Pearsall is. And that's the answer that's what they needed at that one position anyway. I can, you can handle the the really tall, fast guys on the outside. And I'm not sure exactly how much speed all those guys have either, but I think you need that guy that can catch the ball 5 yards and make something happen with it. I mean, that's, the Percy Harvins or the Kadarius Tonys of the world. You don't want to put that kind of label on anybody, but you really need that. If you don't have those kind of answers, sometimes I think your offense can just be stagnant, and you just need that. So hopefully he's that guy and can do those things. And we never even mentioned Anthony Richardson yet, so
right.
he's the biggest key to this whole season, in my opinion.
Yeah, I was going to get to him in a second. Camp here says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Melon Law, his biggest concern is the lack of breakaway speed at receiver. We have fast kids, but just not football kids. Pearsall is a great addition, I hope, but I have to see him against SEC competition. Here's what I've told people yesterday on my show. He's a little bit taller than Travis McGriff, but he's shifty like Travis, quick and can run. He's that guy. They're going to put it. I mean, they didn't just line him up in the slot; they had him out wide. But to me, he is a guy that can take a slant and make people miss and go to the house. So we'll see. But he is clearly heads above everybody else at the receiver position from what I saw. Right. Speaking of Anthony Richardson, I've told people this. I've known Anthony since he was a youngin', coached against him in high school. He's extreme. We all know the talent. I mean, we don't have to sit here and talk about it. But you got to keep him in the frame of what he does well. If you ask him, people ask me, well, has he gotten better at reading defenses? I don't give a crap. Don't ask him to read defenses. Let him do what he does well. One guy, if that guy ain't there, let's go. Use your athletic ability to make a play. That's what they're going to do. And if he can stay healthy, they can have they can have a really good year. I don't know how good that year can be, but he's got to learn. I think the biggest thing for Anthony needs to learn is when I have the football in my hand, there is nothing wrong with sliding or running out of bounds. Protect yourself. Even though he's 240, them dudes on the other side are trained killers. They're trying to hurt people. And I think he's got to find a way to stay healthy.
Yeah, but I think you remember last year it was a hamstring issue that he had, and so
right.
It wasn't really about getting banged up. It was about outrunning himself.
That's true.
And so, I mean, he is a tank. I say a tank. He's a big dude, but we haven't really seen a whole lot of collisions with him because he didn't play a whole lot. But to me, Shane, the thing that I thought when I watched the orange and blue game, I was pretty amazed about what he did. I had heard all spring this past year that he was just, of course, like you said, he can make the big plays. He can do this, that, and the other, but he was highly inconsistent. And then he goes 16 for 18 for 180 yards and 2 touchdowns in the first half of the orange and blue game against the first defense, right? And we've already talked about the secondary, which was the first defense out there, and how much we think they're going to be improved. I mean, to me, if you get 16 out of 18 from Anthony Richardson on any Saturday, there's not a game Florida's going to lose. It's just not going to happen because he's going to do those other things to make a big deal. If you can get that consistent play out of him, the big plays will happen. If you can get the consistency, I think that's a world beater right there. And for him to do those numbers in the first half in the spring, that really did surprise me. I did not think that was going to happen in that game. You got to give Billy Napier and that offensive staff credit. Yep. They've seen what he can do, and they allowed him to use his ability on what he does well. They didn't ask him to read a bunch of stuff. But, yeah, if he's accurate and, efficient, I should say, Florida has a chance. At Chris Doring Mortgage, they do mortgage lending right, helping home buyers throughout Gainesville and North Central Florida. Call Chris Doring Mortgage today at 352-244-0840. Last thing for you, Bob, before we let you go. Recruiting. Obviously, Billy, they got hot here right before practice started. Give us a real thumbnail where you think this Gator 2023 class, when it's all said and done, where they could end up. Yeah, I think they're definitely going to be top 10. A lot of people were worried about they wouldn't finish in the 20s or whatever. I think they're going to be close to that top 5 spot before it's all said and done. I think they could squeeze into 5 when they're done. And I'm not one that actually watches other schools and how they're sliding and moving up and down the rankings. So, it's just a guess on my opinion right now, from me right now. They got to add some interior defensive linemen, and I think that's coming very shortly, probably this month. They need a middle linebacker still in this class. They have a couple of really big fish at cornerback in Cormani McLean and Dejon Johnson that they're aiming at, and I think probably favored for at least Dejon, and then Cormani, of course, everybody thinks is a battle between Florida, Miami, and Alabama. And I think Florida's going to win that one. So this might be the best secondary class in a long time for Florida when it's all said and done. And I think the defensive line class is going to be really good too before they are done. I think offensive line is still the question mark. I don't know where they're going to get. They need 2 more, and they need 2 offensive tackles, and I don't know how they're going to get them right now.
Yeah, Bob, great stuff as always. Let everybody know how they can follow you on Twitter and read your work at Gator Collective.
You know what? I have to look at my Twitter handle.
You don't know your Twitter handle?
Well, it's changed because of where I've worked. So anyway, you can find me on at thegatorcollective.com. And you go there, you sign up, and then you have to find the message boards. But you go there and you'll find out it's kind of a double sign up thing for the message boards. But give us a shot, and while you're doing it, you're paying to help the athletes. You're helping the athletes at the University of Florida. And then it's Bob_Redman 67 at Twitter to find me on Twitter.
Yep, good stuff, buddy. Appreciate your time. And we'll talk to you soon, bud.
All right, Shane. Thanks for having me.
That's Hollywood Bob Redman. Join us on the Titan MR hotline. We appreciate his time. Let's get to this day in sports, which is brought to you by our good friends at Comfort Temp. Comfort is our business. Peace of mind is our promise. Beat the summer heat. Schedule your air conditioners. Tune up today, keeping you chill in the Florida heat far away. Comfort Temp Heating and Air. Call us today, 352-376-2366. In 2006, Warren Moon becomes the first black quarterback to be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He was joined by Troy Aikman, John Madden, Rayfield Wright, Harry Carson, and Reggie White. I'm curious if there's been any other black quarterbacks inducted since him. He was the first. I guess the only other one that I could possibly think of, maybe Doug Williams. I don't know. I should know that, I guess. But the Hall of Fame game was last night. And then the induction ceremony is tomorrow. So it's a big deal for any former football player. You're getting old when all those guys were either in your draft class or you played against them. So I saw where Bryant Young with the 49ers is going in. Great guy. I want to say he and I came out the same year as well. Ruse Ogre State Farm Office is a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visit ogreinsurance.com. Give them a call at 352-240-1779. Once again, I want to thank JC and Bob Redman. Bob's been covering the Gators for a long time now with the Gator Collective. Make sure you follow him on Twitter for a lot of updates. They get a bunch of stuff. They go out to practice here and there. And I'm going to try to head out there. I think they're practicing this weekend, and we'll give you all a report. It's hard to tell. I mean, when you practice against each other, it's so hard to get any kind of idea of what's going on. But as I said, the one practice I went to, the one guy that stood out to me, and I don't watch the big guys. I just watch the skill guys. It was Ricky Pearsall. John says, what about Randall Cunningham? I don't think Randall Cunningham's in the Hall of Fame. Again, I'm sure one of our loyal listeners will do some research for us and get us that answer. No more football. I think the next preseason game starts next Thursday. But pretty much all the SEC teams have started training camp, and I hope everybody stays healthy from here on out. Make sure you tell all your friends and family to join, to watch our program, whether it's live or when it's recorded. what have you on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google, all those different platforms. Tell them to hit the follow and like button. Have a great weekend, folks, and we will see y'all on Monday. Take care.